Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And it's such an honor to be here with all of you. And today, I would like to share with you, actually, it's a case study. It's about a company with a very long history, 140 years old, company in Thailand. So it's the oldest corporation in Thailand, actually. So it has a long history, 140 years old, but I try to make a long history short within 30 minutes with the ring and 2 minutes extra to make it a 15. Okay, all right. Okay, so the paper that I will present today is actually a work that done with my friend Julia Kim, and I think some of you may know her because she is also from CBS, and also me. But today she's not here today due to another duty that she has to do. So anyway. So the title of this paper is Doing Business with Compassion. Okay, and integrating GNH into B.Grimm Group in Thailand. So as I mentioned, this is a 140 years old, so it's a century-old company in Thailand. So a little bit of the overview, I would like to present you actually 6 sections. First, I will talk about the company as is the business context of the B.Grimm Group, and then I will walk you through a journey about the establishment of the GNH Center Thailand, and it's a collaboration between GNH Center Bhutan and the B.Grimm Group. So it's a collaborative institutional framework that we use to institutionalize or integrate GNH into the business. And then I will also talk about the training and the organizational development to introduce the GNH values and the practices into the business and the group of the companies within B.Grimm. And then I will also show you and share with you the results to date and the lesson learned and next steps for improvements, or maybe this can be some lesson learned for other organizations who would like to implement GNH into the real sector of the business or the real world and how it looks like. And then last but not least, the final conclusion. Okay, so this is B.Grimm Group, and it's established back, as I mentioned to you, about 140 years old. So it was in Bangkok in 1878, and historically it was started as a German-based chemist shop. The name was the Siam Dispensary by a German pharmacist. The name was Bernhard Grimm, and his Austrian partner Edwin Muller. Okay, and it is, the oldest incorporated businesses in Thailand, as I mentioned. So today is a group of businesses, and it's the oldest infrastructure developer, and it's very prominent in the development of the irrigation canals, for example, Khong Rangsit Canal, and roads, and the builder of Thailand's renowned Dawn Temple. I'm not sure if many of you or some of you have visited Bangkok and been there. So actually B.Grimm was the one who was the developer and the constructor of Wat Arun, or the Dawn Temple. And it was the official pharmacist to the Thai royal family during the reign of the King Chulalongkorn. So the King Rama V of the Thailand, and that was the era of the country rapid modernizations, and that's when the foreigners sort of come into Thailand and Bangkok, and that's it was very a good opportunity then when the founders found his company in Thailand and Bangkok during that time, date back 100 years ago. Okay, and so today we have a new third generation family successor. Okay, so his name is Dr. Hara Link, and he's the current chairman of the group, and he's took over the family business some decades ago, and he really significantly expand the business into multi-business corporations into a very diverse field like energy, real estate, healthcare, building systems, and emerging technologies today, and transportation also. If you recall, and some of you have been to Thailand and you have been into the BTS, or some of them have been into the airport rail link, and the name is with the developer. So the family or the B.Grimm Group was the one who really supporting the airport rail link. So the name is already in it, right? The link. Okay. All right. So with that, during Mr. Link or Dr. Link successions or take over the family business, he had really thought about what is it in the business. So what is it that we are doing over 140 years old, and constantly people ask how you survive over a century old, and you seem to do very well because its company just got listed in the Stock Exchange of Thailand and Singapore Stock Exchange. So he did some research, and he did a lot of trainings and focus group to come up with what is it really into the business and what is the core of B.Grimm Group. So he found out that actually the corporate philosophy and the mission that the company has been doing for over a century old is really in its mission. Is that actually the title of my paper is already quoting the very important part of the business is doing business with compassion, for the development of civilization. Okay, so I think by now you can a little bit understand why we are talking about doing business with compassion, and that's also for the development of the civilization, because they've been the developer and infrastructure builders and all this stuff for the Thai society for over 100 years old. Okay, so apart from that, they already have the corporate philosophy. So the next thing, the people within the company ask, so what are the core values? What make us B.Grimm, or what make us, the company, and what's glued together? And so these are the four core values of the company. So people there are constantly trained, and from the human HRM or human resource management and development side, we also look at how the company really groom their people into these core values of positivity, partnership, professionalism, and pioneering spirit. Okay, and so really doing business with compassion, you may ask. I have not touched on that, but now I'm going to tell you why it's become the essence of the company. The company has engaged in several social engagements, activities, and charities over the century long, and for example, the religions, and that Mr. Link or the B.Grimm Group has also supported the Mind and Life Institute, and so many of them. I just pick up some of the examples: education, environment, sports, arts, music. So. Really, the company has done a lot. I mean, as I mentioned to you, 15 minutes will not tell 140 years old company activities since date back. They have been putting a lot of money into the charity and helping the Thai society in many various ways, especially in the education and the community development. Okay, so again, I have give you some example of this, company. And actually, the company has been doing quite well in terms of the financial terms, in terms of many other sides of the sustainability. So it's really beyond the triple bottom lines we are talking about here. So the company really serves, I think, the true purpose of the business. Right? I think yesterday someone talked and asked and have some inquiry regarding this matter. So when I interview Mr. Links and their executive, they say almost the same thing. I'm not interviewing them like as a panel, but individually. So what I found is the very essence of the company is really say that, they think that the business is really to help create the value for the society. So that is kind of touching in a way, as a researcher, because, sometimes people think business and, these kind of virtue, values things are sort of separate things. But so the company is really living up to its mission and corporate philosophy about doing business with compassion. So by saying that, you can now sort of understand how the company is really linked to GNH, in terms of its values and its practices. Okay, so apart from linking to the GNH values and principles, because the company established in Thailand is also find itself very much deeply connected with Thailand's sufficiency economy philosophy, which he was the presenter previously was talking a little bit about before. So actually, it's just a little bit of brief introductions. This was introduced by our late King Bhumibol Adulyadej, and he was the one who received a very prestigious award, UNDP Human Development Lifetime Achievement Award in 2006 for the improvements of the well-being and health. Sustainable development in the Thai society over 70 years, okay? So he just passed away last year. So, during his reign, for 70 years, every day he's been working for all of us in Thailand and try to help develop from the, very back 70 years ago, we were quite underdeveloped country until now we're developing and moving forward into the developed country. Okay, so based on the values, the principles of sufficiency economy philosophy is really looking at how to focus people and action based to focus on the moderation, reasonableness, prudence or self-immunity. Okay, based on the two underlying conditions which are knowledge and morals or ethics or virtues. So now, I think hopefully you can see that there are some elements or some of the principles that are in line with the sustainability at the end and really resonate GNH principles. Okay, so from saying that, since the GNH really in line with its business, then we can find that B.Grimm Group is very much interested in bringing GNH Center bringing the GNH into Thailand by establishing the GNH Center Thailand together. Last year, it was inaugurated by Her Royal Highness the Princess, from Bhutan, and we had MOU signed, and we had a very systematic structure of the training and modules. So from saying that, we can see that the B.Grimm business model really incorporates all these, doing business with compassion and GNH 4 pillars and principles and the sufficiency economy philosophy foundations together within its framework. So this is from its website, okay? So this is a little bit of the structure of the GNH program that has been training to the people of the B.Grimm Group companies. Okay, there are 3 modules by introducing GNH, applying it, and then really implementing the GNH into the company. So these are some of the things they are doing, the inner to outer sort of approach, like mindfulness, happiness, skills, and value practices into the GNH 9 domains. Okay, and so there are some some results I would like to show you. There are both quantitative and qualitative data. So to date, 102 individuals from 9 B.Grimm groups have participated in the GNH trainings. And from the finding, from the quantitative data, we take surveys from all these participants, and we find that more than 80% are happy with the GNH and the principle, and they really believe that it's going to help them with their personal life and their business work. Okay. From the qualitative data, we find a very good acceptability from both the in-house facilitators. So these are the participants of the GNH trainings, and they perceive it's very useful. Okay, again, as I mentioned, so the both qualitative and quantitative data are pretty much in line that from how useful is the GNH at the company. So these are some of the examples. I will not go through since we don't have the time, but a little bit of things that they've been doing. I just mentioned that it's very structured and it's very systematic. Okay, and these are some of the things they have been implementing at the organizational level through the human development, organizational development. But there are some things that we have learned, and then there are some next steps. Yeah. So GNH is really relevant in Thailand, but we're still facing some of the things that we need to ensure that it's going to have the continuity, So the support from the corporate level, is very, very important. And the importance of the institutional partnership is very, very important. So in conclusion, okay, so together the GNH Center Bhutan and the GNH Center Thailand really represents a very unique opportunity and resource to really further provide the GNH values and business practices for organizations in the Thailand and also other, different countries around the region. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Hope you enjoy it.